everybody, and welcome back to another Beasts of the Mesozoic review. And today we are going to be finishing up the Tyrannosaurs with the last of the line. And this is the 1/18th scale Tarbosaurus bataar by Creative Beast Studio and its founder, David Silva. So here we are. There's our incredible figure. And before we take a look at this figure, let's take a look at the packaging for it, shall we? So here we have our gorgeous box for the Beasts of the Mesozoic Tarbosaurus. Inside the box you can see the diorama that you can take out and place behind your figure for extra dramatic effect. And on the cover, of course, is the beautiful cover art done by Raul Ramos. On the back, you also get your obligatory product shots and information about the dinosaur. And, of course, you also get a look at the other Wave 3 Tyrannosaurs for the lineup. Yeah. So, in addition to that, inside the box, we also have this incredible collector card, which is, of course, done by Raul Ramos in regards to the artwork. And on the back, you get your product shot and information about the dinosaur. And, of course, along with this and the toy itself, you also get the ever-important instructions. Yeah, so for this, it's best to do as they say here: use a hair dryer or hot water, and heat up the figure. Either in hot water or with a hair dryer, so that you can properly install the tail, loosen up the joints, and loosen up the joints, and of course make it a little easier to pose the figure. Very important that you listen to these and really pay attention to this, because you do not want to accidentally break your figure. I've nearly had that happen. It was not fun, and yeah, I want to make sure no one ever has to go through that. But anyway, moving on, let's look at our gorgeous Tarbosaurus, shall we? So here he is. This is him, our glorious Tarbosaurus. And as you can see, Tarbosaurus bataar is absolutely incredible. Now this is a 20-inch figure, and it is a little over from the end of the toes to the top of the head, a little over 8.5, or a little under 8.5 inches tall. But that's about the same size as the other Wave 3 Tyrannosaurs, such as Albertosaurus, Gorgosaurus, and Daspletosaurus. But this is actually about average size for a Tarbosaurus in regards to scale. This 1/18th scale figure would equate to about a 30-foot animal. But anyway, in regards to the figure itself, taking him off his beautiful stand, have a look at this. Look at that beautiful coloring. This coloring is actually based off a highly venomous Australian snake species known as the inland taipan, which is one of the world's deadliest snakes. But it really works for the Tarbosaurus. And honestly, I could see this being like a male Tarbosaurus with the prehistoric planet coloration basically representing a female of the species. But yeah, this is an incredible dinosaur. And I just absolutely love it. I mean, look at this. The jaws are just absolutely phenomenally done, and you can see all those beautiful teeth in there. And look at the transition of color on the belly and the sides, and even down into the tail. This is absolutely gorgeous, and I love the orange on the throat as well. Just fantastic. And of course, he's got really tiny arms, and gorgeous, gorgeous coloration on the feet and inside of the legs. Just absolutely phenomenal. Just absolutely phenomenal. But articulation-wise, this figure has about 22 points of articulation, and yeah, his jaws open and close like this. He closes his jaws really nicely. But yeah, the tongue can also move, but I don't move it because, one, it doesn't look right if you move it. Two, it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of hard to move unless you heat it up a lot. And three, tyrannosaurs could not move their tongues according to the latest evidence. So, yeah, why move it if it didn't move in real life? But anyway, in addition to that, the articulation on the head and neck is actually the greatest of all the tyrannosaurs for Wave 3. He can move his head right, left, about that far. He does not have a lot of up and down movement in his head or his neck. About that far down, about this far up. The torso can also move up and down and side to side like so. And that works really, really nicely. The arms, which are the tiniest of any tyrannosaur in the toy line and in real life compared to its body size, they can do a full 360 at the shoulder joint, and the shoulder joint can move in and out like so. The elbow can go about this far back, this far forward. The wrists can go in, and they do swivel, but it doesn't really, it's not accurate to have them like this. Tyrannosaurs could not pronate their wrists. Honestly, no dinosaur could. Now, the knees bend about this far back on the figure for the standing legs, and the legs can move at the hip that far forward, that far back. I mean, you can get them pretty far, but I don't recommend too far in regards to that, because honestly, it might not work very well in regards to keeping the balance for the figure. Beyond that, the tail does move right, left, up and down in all places, and there is actually a wire in the tail, so you can actually bend it like that. And yeah, just an absolutely very cool figure, and absolutely amazing work. And I love the eyes as well. This, with contrasting with the black color, those great yellow, those little yellow eyes are just so spooky looking. So yeah, I give this an A+ in regards to color and articulation. And regarding articulation, he does also have, of course, his incredible set of posable legs, which of course have incredible articulation as well. And in order to showcase that, you just pop the leg off like so, pop this new one in like this, and they are a little tight, so just gently work them in. And like with the standing legs, he can move his leg that far back at the knee, that far forward. Can move his ankle about this far forward, and he does have multiple sets of toes, but you can see on this foot that he's got swivel, forward and back movement, which is really great for posability. So you can really make this Tarbosaurus look like he is taking a nice walk like this. Now, in addition to those standing feet, he also comes with 2 sets of mid-step toes for forward and back kind of walking, and closed toes for when you have his feet up in the air or if he's lying down. So really, really cool. And yeah, just an absolutely incredible figure. Now, Tarbosaurus is definitely one of the best understood tyrannosaurs we currently know about. It is basically a sister taxon, that is to say one of the closest relatives to Tyrannosaurus rex, or rather the genus Tyrannosaurus in general. It is also closely related to Zhucheng tyrannus and to Daspletosaurus in particular, and a new paper just came out that shows that Daspletosaurus was actually the ancestor to the line that led to both Tyrannosaurus and Tarbosaurus, so they are really, really closely related. Now, Tarbosaurus is mainly known from the Nemegt Formation in Mongolia, and it was arguably one of the fiercest predators of its time. This was an animal that lived alongside large sauropod dinosaurs. It had a more rigid skull than T-Rex, or Tyrannosaurus macraensis, for that matter. And it would have needed that in order to fight sauropods and ankylosaurs that lived in its environment, since there really were no ceratopsians in the Nemegt Formation, as far as can be told. And the Nemegt was also a seasonally dry area that did give way to desert in some areas, but it also would have been very lush seasonally, kind of like the Okavango Delta in modern Africa today. So, yeah, it was definitely one of the more interesting environments. And there's a lot of dinosaurs known from there, including Nemegtosaurus, other giant sauropods that aren't named yet, hadrosaurs like Barsboldia and Saurolophus, ankylosaurs like Tarchia and Pinacosaurus, and even close relatives of Velociraptor like Allosaurus. And of course another tyrannosaur called Alioramus were also found there as well. And Alioramus would have been the cheetah compared to Tarbosaurus basically being like the lion of the area. Yeah, this animal probably would have eaten an Alioramus, or even perhaps if they shared the same environment, Shanjusaurus, if they crossed paths, because this animal was much, much fiercer. And because we actually have a lot of specimens from Tarbosaurus, we do know a lot about its growth. And as just like with T-Rex, the juveniles were very long-legged and slender for chasing smaller, faster prey. But even as babies, their bites were stronger than those of something like Alioramus. So they would have been feeding on different animals than even an adult Alioramus was when juvenile Tarbosaurus were still growing. But Tarbosaurus is also quite large. The largest specimens are about the same size as some of the largest Tyrannosaurus specimens. Maybe not in regards to weight, but certainly in regards to length. Again, as I said, this figure is about equivalent to an average size Tarbosaurus. So this one would be about 30 feet long if it was full scale. But Tarbosaurus could reach 40 feet, and it often did. And there's also evidence that Tarbosaurus had a very strong sense of smell. It would have been very, very good at finding prey or possibly a mate with that sense of smell. And there is some evidence that it may have been social, but nobody's quite sure. Yeah, only more fossils can tell this for sure. But it is definitely one of the coolest tyrannosaurs that has ever been discovered. And yeah, I can't stop gushing over how amazing this dinosaur is. It's basically T-Rex's Mongolian cousin, the original ruler of Mongolia before Attila the Hun came in. And yeah, just absolutely a terrifying predator that you would not have wanted to cross paths with. Now, in regards to price for this figure, this toy was about $140. And you can actually get it from creativebeast.com. Not to mention Big Bad Toy Store and Everything Dinosaur in the UK if you are living overseas. But this is definitely a good figure to save up from. If you want something a little less, a little more intriguing than Tyrannosaurus, Tarbosaurus might be the way to go for you, because this is a very impressive animal in its own right, and it's absolutely one of the coolest and best known tyrannosaurs. It is essentially, it's essentially like a smaller version of Tyrannosaurus that hunted even bigger prey most of the time. But yeah, it's well worth it to save up and get this figure. And I can't recommend it enough. This is actually one of my favorites of Wave 3. And I hope my video also convinces you that you might want it too. So anyway, this is SaberRex signing off, saying thank you for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you would like to see more content like this. Thank you. Oh, be a toy nerd. Be proud of it. And never stop enjoying what you love. And have a good night. Bye-bye.